Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, I have the Tempest Microburst in my hot little hands. Also, a brand new Dirk Pinkerton custom. And then whatever is on your mind. It's open mic night. I was working late tonight, came in hot, set up, threw some knives on the table, and got in touch with Jim. And here we go. So tonight is open mic night. And I would have chosen this in any case. I like to do that every 8 shows or so. It's good just to open everything up and just find out what everyone's thinking about. There's some controversy happening these days, and I'd like to get your take on it. If you're interested, Ground Fog, good to have you here, Ground Fog. Is that it is a skull, but I'm curious what the skull is made of. It's funny, man. These little avatars look so cool, but you can't quite see what they're all about. Dion Page, how you doing, Dion? Hello, King Junkie and Jim and Junkie Kingdom. Hey, I like that. I like the whole motif, the royal motif. Dave, how's it going, sir? Evening, all you die-hard knifeies, he says. One of the knives I'm featuring tonight, I know Dave has one. Hint, Dirk Pinkerton, and I already mentioned it. Byron Kennedy, good to see you here, sir. Howdy, Bob, Jim, Junkies. Just waiting on the Obsidian Axe drop any day now. TKJ discount code. Yeah, that Obsidian Axe. I'm gonna pull it out of the dig, and I'll mount it to some lignum vitae, and I'll get it out to you, sir. Kep McNessart. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Happy Thursday Night Knives. Well, Ketmuk, happy Thursday Night Knives to you. And I notice you have a different avatar, 2 new knives there. Robert Douglas, good to have you here, sir. Robert, a great name. Mike Flamian, good to have you here, Mike. I know you've got a Randall close at hand on the belt or otherwise. Robert, how's it going, sir? Brankiewski. That's right. Evening, everyone. Hope all is well. I said that's right. I'm trying to remember how you phoneticized it. Doesn't matter because you're a Robert, and we have 3 Roberts in the house now. So that's awesome. Nick EDC here. Good to have you here. Evening, everyone. Hey, that reminds me. So remind me to tell you a cool story about the woods behind my parents' house. Blade Ogre. What are you carrying today? I was not on Instagram at all today. It was very, very, there was no uploading or downloading for me at my job today. So, didn't have a chance to glance. And usually on Thursdays, I just so happen to see Blade Ogre's carry. Hi, Bob, says Mike Flamian. Hello, Mike. Good to have you here, man. Drive Strength. How you doing, Drive Strength? He just recently won a knife here. Evening, Bob and Jim, he says. I say evening back to you, sir. Will be. Hey, Jim, Bob, Ground Fog, Dion, Dave, Byron, Robert, Mike, Nick, Ogre, fellow junkies. Will, I love it. You're very inclusive, and it's good to have you here, as always, Will. Hungry Bird, good to have you here, Hungry Bird. Hungry Bird leaves some amazing comments. Good evening, junkies, he says. Cam, yo, good evening, junkies. Yo to you. Man, I saw, actually, right next to Jim at work is parked a very cool Mustang. And the other day, I'm only saying this because I saw one in your little avatar. And the other day, Jim and I were coming back from lunch, and someone turned on, and the owner, turned on the car and drove it out. And not only is it beautiful, but oh my God, did it sound good? It sounded so good. And, no judgments on electric cars, but they don't sound like that. And they never will, because they don't have a bunch of little explosions happening inside them, to make them go. Max the Maker, good to have you here, Max. Hi, everyone, he says. Well, hello, right back at you. Never Enough Knives 007. Happy Thursday night, junkies. I'm ready for my weekly blade fix. Well, just taking up the knife cam just to have something in case Jim has to cut to it. I have the Taipan. I got this recently. I highly recommend it. If you want a great dagger, hollow ground, slashy, and really excellent sand my blade steel for what you need it for. This is great. And I think this has a cable tang, which I'm a total, unless you have to baton wood with your knife, and it'll still do it, no doubt. But I love the cable tang, how it absorbs shock and how, it's good for this kind of knife. Aberdeen Blade says, Hello, all. Been holding off on new purchases so I can try snagging the Nova One. Oh, Aberdeen, that makes my heart. That puts wind in my sails. Jim and I, just before we were talking about this, we're talking about how he's solving some of our online, getting it ready for the pre-order. Please do save your money, and you will not be disappointed. I assure you. I've been carrying this thing nonstop, as you might imagine. Hungry Bird says, I was looking at the off-grid Coyote fixed blade. Looks like a good one. Wait, which one? Because Coyote is just a designation for the color. They don't have a model called Coyote, but they have a bunch of really awesome fixed blades, and most of them are in Coyote. So I will say that yes, it's probably good. I mean, I know they're all good that I've experienced, and I think I've experienced them all, but I don't know which one you're talking about. If it's the backcountry Coyote, oh my goodness, go for it. It's awesome. Beautiful recurve blade on that. G. Gleck, good to have you here. Good to you, Bob. Good to see you, Bob. It's good to see you too, man. Blame Dexter, good to have you here. Though ominous you look, hello, you say. Hello to you. Have a nice day. Hey, Junkolos. Yes. Good to see you. Good to have you here, man. Yeah, fixed blade fix right there with have a nice day. Cam says nothing better than American V8 for sure. Well, it has, I was just thinking, okay, so I grew up, maybe earlier. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and my best friend, when I was young, his uncle had a leasing company, and his uncle a car leasing company, and he drove a Pantera de Tomaso, and it was the coolest car. It was like Italian styling, but it had a Ford engine, some big giant American V8 engine, and it was a monster. And it was such a cool car. Anyone out there remember the Pantera? What a sweet car. G. Gleck says, just got the double-edged Rapid Strike. Nice, to go along with the Zabo Express. That is a perfect, that's a perfect pair right there. Ever heard of UUK Vampire? It's crazy cool. UUK for some reason seems familiar, but no, I don't think I have. And so I will use this technology to make sure I look it up. UUK Vampire. Okay. Crazy cool. I like that qualification. That's a good qualification for a knife. Critical question, Bob. My next knife. Okay. Well, critical question right back at you. Folder or fixed blade? And then I'll tell you. Hungry Bird says, going in a fixed blade path thanks to you and Dave. Oh man, happy to have you. I mean, hey, there's no shortage of folders and really awesome folders. I love the folders, but the fixed blade love. I mean, fixed blade getting love from a lot of YouTubers. I'm loving. I feel like there are a lot of people who appreciate them, and maybe you know what it is. It's actually I just was not looking at them. I'm not saying that they just sprang up out of nowhere, because lots of people have been reviewing fixed blade knives for a long time. Have a Knife Day, for instance. But I just was into the close-up watching of people kind of, playing with their knives, and right now I'm more into watching people play with their fixed blades. What could I say? Mike Flamian says, supposedly Spartan is teaming up with K-Bar to make the K-Bar knife, and it will be in Magna Cut. Yes, they have already, Mike. They've done this before. Well, first of all, they have a relationship with K-Bar to make some mid-level knives called Pineland. But they also did a run of this K-Bar once before, I believe, or now maybe they haven't. Maybe it's just been in the works for a long time. But Magna Cut, that's pretty cool, because Spartan Blades takes their heat treat seriously, and I'm sure they will push it to the max. Have a Knife Day says, listening while at a Chinese restaurant. Indeed, man. Okay, so I was just starving until a moment ago. I scarfed down a slice, but I would have loved some Chinese. You got to let me know what you're eating. Is it the General Tso's? I always like the sweet coated chicken. James Moore, good to have you here, sir. Hey everyone, happy Groundhog Day. That's right. I heard we're supposed to have six more weeks of Winter. Ryan Walker, good to have you. Hello to you, sir. Drive Strength says, critical question, Bob. My next knife, another Yojimbo, but this time in crewwear or first Yojumbo in S90V. Get the Yojumbo. Get the Yojumbo. I'll tell you why. You said it, the words you use, this time in crewwear. That kind of made me went, this time. Like that kind of almost seems like you're resigned to get that as strictly a collection purchase. But that being said, I haven't been totally bitten by the steel bug, and I certainly don't push my steel to the limit. So if that's a consideration, I understand. But if it isn't, S90V is an awesome steel, and you got to get the Yojumbo. Bob says, James Moore, my evil ex-stepmother had a Pantera. No shit. You're mentioning the car gave me a traumatic flashback. Well, let me tell you, James, it wasn't just evil ex-stepmothers who drove that car. But that almost seems like a very appropriate car because it's a wicked and evil car, but also it's not common, that's interesting, James. Ooh. Now I will have that. Was it a weird color? His wasn't. His was like a tomato red. It was like almost an orange. Oh man, what a car. That thing was beautiful. And it wasn't the one with all the ground effects in the wing. It was the one that was just clean. Oh man, it was so nice. Never Enough Knives 007 says, I have one of the original Zabo UUKs. I think it's number 019. Oh, okay. It's a Zabo knife. The Vampire. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So you have an original Zabo. That's awesome, man. Hey, Professor EDC. Hey, Bob, Jim, fellow junkies. Hope you're all doing. Smile and thumbs up. Of course, I'm sure you've all seen Professor EDC podcast this week. We had an awesome conversation, and it was nice to. I always get warm feelings from Professor EDC. The couple of times we've chatted in person, virtually, but this was a 1 hour conversation. Plus, we did some for the patrons, and it was awesome. It was a nice hangout. Hungry Bird says, yes, Backcountry V2. Thanks. Yes, get it. And they've done two since. So they did a V2, and that V2 had ergonomic improvements from the V1. And then they've done a second run of the V2, and that has ergonomic improvements over the first run. So the one that you'll be getting is the best. James Moore says, next weekend is Tactical Knife Invitational California Custom Knife Show. Oh, James, are you going to go do some damage, James? I can't wait to hear and see what you've gotten to see more so. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would love to just get in my Pantera and drive out to California to check that out. Love the old Pantera, says Cam, the old Panteras. You got good taste, my friend. Oh, well, thank you, sir. Thank you. This Old Sword Blade Reviews says, Dave says, I took my Razorback to the groundhog after hearing that tripe. Excellent. I like with yours that you got one thing on yours that I'm a little bit jealous of. Not envious, but jealous. And I'll tell you later. I know what you know. I know you know what it is. It's a Gungan. Good to see you here. Crewwear is a self-defense knife. It's in a self-defense knife is overkill. No pun intended. I would imagine that that's true. I have one Crewwear knife, and it is ground so damn thin. It's like paper, and it's the Steingraber Performance Knives Shark, and I've done a lot of cardboard cutting, which over time dulls a knife, and maybe not even that much time depending on the steel. But that Crewwear, man, never had to sharpen it. So yeah, I could see how that's overkill in a self-defense knife, unless you're using the Yojimbo as a utility knife, which it would be excellent as a utility knife with some stout steel. Have a Knife Day says, oops, I just received a Blackjack Model 17. That's awesome. Actually, Dave has the one that I had. We did a knife trade. I traded that for this because I had gotten my Randall, and I don't regret it. I don't. With natural micarta handle and Alabama Damascus blade. Nice. Found it on eBay and it came from Nagoya, Japan. So what does that mean? Does that mean this is from the early incarnation of blackjack before they? So my understanding is blackjack was awesome and made in Japan made in Japan for a while, and then it got not so awesome, and then it got awesome again when Mike Stewart bought it back and brought it into the fold over at Park River Knives. Is that vaguely it? Have a Knife Day says we are having salt and pepper fish, ooh, deep fried and chicken fried rice. Ah, that sounds really good. And I mean, you had me at deep fried. You could deep fry many things and I'd be enthusiastic about it. But that salt and pepper chicken and I mean chicken fried rice and fried fish sounds delicious. Jonathan Camps, good to have you here, Jonathan. Let's see. I carry a Karasuando mini axe around the house. Oh, well, that's cool. Hey, we like axes here, and the carry that we have here. We have a couple of strategically placed Wingard wearables. This one here, the Empress by the bed, and then the Stingray in an undisclosed location. Wonder Woman EDC, good to have you here, Wonder Woman. Applause, smile, knife, thumbs up, all of those things. Absolutely. Professor EDC, same here, Bob. Yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome. Friends, we're friends. James Moore says, did anyone see the auction knife going up tomorrow from Ron Best? Amazing. No, describe it, James. You're good at describing fancy knives. Never Enough Knives 007 says, I have a backcountry blackout V1 that's got some ergonomic improvements on my belt grinder. Oh, very interesting. Oh, because you're grinding in those improvements. Actually, on my V1, that's strategically placed in a bookshelf outside of this room. In any case, that's got an uncomfortable handle. I've always thought of rounding off the peaks of the outer edges of the Anzo grooves, and maybe even changing the contour of the handle. But my dad got that for me as a gift, and I didn't want to jack it up, so I've left it as is. But the subsequent models have pleased me so. Dave says, love that blackjack, Bob. Closest I'm going to get to a Randall again this lifetime. Oh, Dave, don't say that, because you can go to you don't have to wait 5 years, and I'm sure you could manage to get your hands on a Randall, whether secondary market or the way I did it. Just go to Knife Center, and they just so happen to have what I wanted at the time, and I just so happened to have a little kitty of money saved up for just such a knife, and bam. So don't say never say never. Never Enough Knives, speaking of which, 007 says, I believe Blackjack had production in Effingham, Illinois, and that was when Mike Stewart was there, which was pre-Bark River. Okay, so he wasn't just there, correct? Like that was his company, right? Deplorable NYC Prepper. Good to have you here, Mr. Deplorable. And from NYC, no less. I just picked up the Holtzman Gorilla Bushwhacker a few weeks ago. Very surprised of how good the fit and finish are. And they give you a nice Kydex sheath. What is this? The Holtzman Gorilla Bushwhacker. Is this one of those things that's, is it like a bush clearing knife that's a bill hook, I think. It's got kind of a recurve and then a big hook on the back. I want to know what that is. Gorilla Bush Master? What was it? Bushwhacker? Michael Morgan, good to have you here, Michael. Look at Michael's Yo Jumbo, and that's the answer. That's the answer. You want to get a Yo Jumbo. You already have a Yo Jumbo. Crewwear. Shredder, hey guys, what's up? What's up, Knife Peeps? You were just the topic of conversation last night. I was talking to D-Bad, and he's going to be on the show on Sunday, and we talked about you in the after section that the patrons got. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys are doing great. That's Ezekiel and Jonathan. Hope everything is going well with you. Good to have you. James Moore says today's carry, Shirogorov, Sinkovich collab BioLite. This is beautiful. I love that. My God, Sinkovich posted a the reason I have my Sinkovich out tonight is that my ZT, is that he posted a beautiful version of this knife. It looked just like this. I don't know what the model is called when it's custom, but he did this crazy sort of urban camo anodization on it, and it was just beautiful. Anyway, I think he's one of my favorite designers, period. And like his designs, like this one to me has always been blindingly beautiful. I just think it's just like perfect. The contours of it. I'm not crazy about the carbon fiber in this case, but the contours of this knife and, this family of knives by him, so perfect. And then he makes some real dogs, but that's cool to me. Every good film director does that. Every painter does that. Not everything can be a masterpiece. Blade Ogre says, carrying the LT Wright Northern Hunter. That's a cool knife. Ketmuk Neshart loaned that to me. The LT Wright Maverick Colt. The M-Tech Blue Force. Oh, I'm sorry. The Mech Force, not M-Tech. I know the big difference there. The Mech Force Blue Phantom, Spyderco Yo Jumbo, Spyderco Yo Jumbo, ZT0640 Emerson, great knife. Bastinelli Mako, another great knife. Bradford Paring knife, the Countycom Tie Slippy. Interesting. I like Countycom. I like going to that website every once in a while. And the GEC 29, very, very nice. Yep. A solid 9 carry, unless I'm mistaken, and it's 8. Drive Strength says, used my new Bradford chef's knife for the first time tonight. Went through steak like warm butter. I was gonna ask, so how thin is it? I've been kind of admiring their chef's knives from afar just recently. I think this might be a new thing for them. Deplorable NYC Prepper says, it looks like a Tops, Bob, on steroids. It's a big hunk of D2. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. You have me at it looks like Tops, because that also means it's a true, big full tang. And man, I do like like I said before, I like my different kinds of tangs, the knives and all these other, but nothing makes me feel as secure as a true full tang knife. Professor EDC says, I enjoyed our conversation very much, meeting Jim as well. And what can I say? You guys are awesome with quality content due to your quality as humans. Oh man, shucks. Thanks. Thanks. I prefer that. I really appreciate that, Professor. D-Bad is good people. Cannot wait for that conversation. Shredder, say the Shredders. Man, he is a cool guy, just like you expect. Some people, like pretty much everyone I know and like and admire in knife world and on YouTube, they're exactly what you see is what you get. And if you watch a D-Bad video and you think he thinks he's a cool guy, and he's like a cousin to me. He's like a cousin. He reminds me a lot of some of the Italianness that runs through my family, and I could see him at a family gathering. Hey, Bobby, come over here. Hey, look at this knife. Like, hell yeah, I'm going to go hang out with D-Bad tonight, going over to grandma's. So it was really cool. It was very cool. I felt very, very familiar with him, as I did with Professor EDC. It's, one of the great things about starting this show. Drive Strength says, sounds like it's going to be the Yo Jumbo. Was hoping everyone would push me in that direction. Good. Yeah, sometimes you just need, here, let's see if that's not enough. Oh, I was gonna bring it up, but I'm like, I always bring out the Yo Jumbo. Why don't you bring out the Spidey Chef? So I brought out the Spidey Chef. It is a great knife. So Wilby says, Grimsmo Norseman Winter Blade Factor. Oh, just for the thingness of it, I probably wouldn't even carry it that much, but God, I love that knife. Spyderco PM2, Spyderco Smock, Kaiser Big Lighter XL, Cold Steel Tiger Claw. Spyderco Ronin 2 Axial Alpine. I love that Ronin 2, and it's wearing a brand new sheath, by the way, which is sweet. Axial Alpine. I like Axial, what I've seen. The Riot X. Okay, I'm counting these knives up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. 9. He is tied with Chris. So next week, one of you has to break this tie and carry a 10th knife like a real man. I'm just kidding. Like a real knife junkie. Like someone who can't leave the house without. Yeah, but it might just come up that I will want this one too. That's my backpack. It weighs like 30 pounds because there are forgotten knives in there. This old sword said, today's carry, Vasti Bellamy. Very nice knife. That's like M390, hollow ground, clip point, 3 different ways to open it. Carbon fiber, like a cool carbon fiber. And it's like $135. That is a great deal. Bastinelli Tellum fixed blade. That is a cool, stubby little dagger. I love that thing. It's almost like a spear. It almost reminds me a little bit of the spiritual cousin of that Cohen's Craft spear that you have, Dave. The wee Brad Zinker Miscreant full size. I just like the name. And the Immolent LD70 EDC 4000 lumen mini flashlight. Okay, cool. I can't read the flashlight names as well as I can the knife names. I was going to say something. I forgot. It's a Gungan says, I carried a Bastinelli Anomaly. That's a cool knife. And a Scallywag Tactical MDV +1. Okay, Scallywag Tactical, they're interesting. Watch Tudor Black. Oh, nice. Tudor Black Bay GMT. Scallywag Tactical is interesting. They have some really cool self-defense-y things and an interesting kind of vibe and marketing thing. And they have an aluminum knife, which I think is cool and I should probably get. But it's it's like a little ringed, like stabby thing. Get off of me kind of thing. Pardon me. Jonathan and Ezekiel say, we've got, pardon me, the off-grid Stinger XL. What a great knife. And a custom fixed blade made by the Kukri House. Nice. I want to get one of those. I want to get one of D-Bad's knives made by the Kukri House. Never Enough Knives 007 says, I have a Blackjack Simba and a trail guide from the Effingham days. Oh, cool. And the trail guide is a sweet Randallesque blade. The trail guide, is that their number 5? Is that like a version of their number 5? Okay. Kep McNessart says, today I'm carrying the Malone Knives Woodsmuck Bear Forest Knives GT3. So I'm unfamiliar with the first two. The Buck 841 Sprint Pro, the Jack Wolf Knives Laid Back Jack. What a great one. And the Wingard Wearables Quill. Very nice. I didn't remember that you had a quill. Is that new? All right. Before anyone else chimes in, let me just take a quick pause for this pocket check. So in my front right pocket, look at that. It looks like a shark swimming by. I'm going to come over here. Actually, it looks like a tiger stalking by because that's what it is. It's the Emerson Tiger. It's just an awesome knife. It's like it's sort of like the Emerson 0630 or 0630 blade, or the CQC 8 blade just fattened up a bit on the CQC 13 handle, which is probably my favorite handle. This knife is just so good. It's so sharp. Emerson's, I got to say, with the exception of the CQC 7 that I once had, the regular size model, and then the mini model, which I also had. Besides those two knives, Emerson knives are just so cute and sharp with the chisel edge. And this is one of those. It's just, just touches things just kind of yawn apart at the very sight of the knife. And that is no exaggeration. I mean that literally. And then look at that giant wave. This one has a really nice big wave that I like, and just ergonomics to beat the band. It does ride up a little high in the pocket, but hey, not a big deal. It's not as comfortable in khaki pants because it cants oddly, or with pants that have the slanted sort of pocket or the vertical pocket line. This is definitely more like tactical pants or jeans type carry. And that's what I was wearing today, jeans. So great knife. Didn't carry it. Did have to leave it a couple of times for work in the car. But It was nice to come back to. It is the Tiger, and I remember reading that when they first made that, when Emerson Knives first made that, that was the knife that Ernie Emerson carried for like a year and a half or something, and he's got a whole factory full of knives he can grab, I presume. And then, okay, what else did I have? I had the low drag jack on me. I've been loving this. As a matter of fact, the other day I switched it out with the vampire jack and forgot about the vampire jack and how much that is a great spear point blade too. So Ben Belkin, the maker of this knife and the man who sent me this knife, gave me this knife, has totally won me over to the spear point. I never really liked spear point blades on traditionals. I mean, I have a bunch of them, but they're always my least favorite, not to use, to look at, you know. And he has totally changed that, and in doing so has made them more useful, at least in my eye, and especially with this one, having that bulbous spear point tip that's so bulbous, with such a a downward raked forward, you know, angle here, straight edge, that it puts the point in the middle. It's very utilitarian, but also gives you a nice belly. This knife is really awesome. I've used it quite a bit. You know, when I get a new Jack Wolf knife, it goes in my pocket and it stays in my pocket until the next one comes. So he has also gotten me, you know, kind of forced a slip joint phase for me that has lasted almost a year. And I'm grateful. What can I say? Okay, so next, I had the Hogtooth Knives, the Hogtooth Knives and Knife Junkie Nova 1 Bowie prototype. So it's got the recurve, it's got the micarta handles, linen micarta handles. Okay, so there are going to be 3 changes made to this. This run of jimping, which is about an inch wide, is going to, I asked that Matt remove it from there and put it right up there and have it end right where that triangle begins. Because I use my knife more like this. I put my thumb kind of up on the blade, and I suspect most people with a knife this size will use it like that too, and not like in this saber grip. So the jimping here doesn't do it for me. So we'll have that jimping there. The logo will be much smaller, and there will be a serial number right here, but the logo will be the same size as the flat, basically. And then the liner color. I like this with the red, but I want it to be a cool color for the run. So it's going to be a forest green right next to that maroon. It's a kind of a grayish forest green. It'll look nice. I like the contrast. I think, red and green are color opposites, and I think a little bit of contrast there is nice. I do like the it's not complementary. What can I say? The near color harmony of the red and the dark red, but I will prefer for the main run some green in there, like a very, very dark, like a deep green. Anyway, this knife, I've been using this to cut a lot in terms of food, because honestly, that's what's been coming up. But what I really have to do, I want to do some, do some other kind of cutting with it. But it's got a nice edge. And I've been, today it was oranges, cutting up oranges with this. I know it's not exciting, but it's what I did. And it was on my belt, and I prefer, any sort of cutting that came up today, or since I've gotten it, has been going to this to see how it's doing, and it's awesome. I love it, and I love carrying it, and it's a comfortable carry. And there it is. I just like admiring it. Okay, so like I said, I don't want to. I'm guessing it's next week that will open up the pre-order, but I'll let you know. Everything, we got to have all the ducks in a row. Yeah, ducks are involved. For emotional support today, Cold Steel Counterattack 2. I love this thing. I have this usually with the cord wrapped around the sheath, and I throw it in my bag. I throw it in my jacket pocket. I have this with me a lot, and it is so easy to carry around the neck. It's amazing how light this thing is, and how you forget about it until, frankly, I'll forget about it usually until I get in the car and the seatbelt goes across it, because I don't like that. I always think if I got hit and the seatbelt, was forced, then that thing on my neck would push into my body. Anyway, so besides driving in the car with it, you forget all about this thing. And here's a nice feature. So if you needed to use this to stab, um, it's almost a more secure hold like this sideways, because they give you quillion all the way around, so you can come right up to that guard and hold it in a sideways position, and then here your fingers wrap and it butts into your palm. This thing is wicked. I really do recommend this, and it's very, very different from. Oh, and also I've seen people wear this with it comes with an excellent clip too, and I've seen them wear it in their boot. What was his name? Zach in the Wild wears it in his boot. Zach, the guy who used to be Blade HQ. So that's what I had on me today. I had, for emotional support, I can never remember the name of all these damn Cold Steel knives. The Counterattack 2 for emotional support. I had the beautiful Nova 1. I had the Low Drag and the Emerson Tiger. A great and stout carry. But the interesting thing was, I realized basically halfway through the day that everything I was carrying had a rounded blade. I didn't have a Warncliffe or a Tonto. I usually like to have something representing a different sort of blade throughout the day. Anyone carrying a fixed blade regularly? I'm curious what you're carrying on the fixed blade side of things and how big you carry. Professor EDC says, today I carried my Zahn. Excellent. That's the Chris Reeve Knives Zahn, the Low Drag Jack, the Joker Campero fixed blade, and a hand axe as I'm still processing wood. Yeah, we talked about that Joker Campero last week. There's a Joker I want to get. It's a big, like, boar hunting, dagger thing. And Jack, he's carrying his Jack Wolf too. Byron Kennedy says today's carry was the off-grid all-day Necker, a Rosecraft Applejack, and Sencut Setchsea. The Applejack. Which one is the Applejack? Is that the one with the swedge? No, that wouldn't make. And not the swedge, the harpoon. James says the Ron Best auction, 3.75-inch Loki Damasteel blade, titanium liner lock with inlays of Vinland Damasteel. Wait, titanium lock with inlays of Vinland Damasteel and plasma black Timascus and Zerk. Damasteel bolsters, hidden flipper, wicked design. Damasteel. Wow, this sounds really ornate. What is plasma black Timascus? Sounds just cool. Wow. So I'm assuming you're in the running for it. I hope you get it, man. That'd be awesome. Michael Morgan says Kapara S30V and Dragonfly K390. That Kapara the Kapara is supposed to be a really good food prep knife, if I recall correctly. And speaking of K390, I know that they're expanding their K390 line with this drop that's happening as we speak. And what else is happening with that drop? Well, the Spyderco Military 2 is dropping, and I already have my pre-order money in at Blade HQ. I cannot wait to get that. Drive Strength says, and I'm not even going to say it. Okay. Drive Strength says Bradford Chef Knife is nice and thin. That's their pairing. I'm sorry. That and their pairing knives are fantastic kitchen duo. Nice. You said it. You wrote it right. I said it wrong. Cam says, had my Manix 2 with Applied Weapons Tech scales on me today. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that they made Manix 2 scales. I have it I have their scales for my Benchmade. What the hell? Griptilian. Never Enough Knives says today was a Manix 2 XL. Let's see. Cold Steel Clip Point Voyager. What size? please. And Ozark Trail small fixed blade, and the Swiss Army knife Huntsman. Was the Ozark Trail the little Tonto, and also the Cold Steel Clip Point Voyager? Was that the 4-inch or the 5.5 inch? The little Ozark Trail was a $4 guilty pleasure. Yep, that's how I got mine. But mine was $6. But I live near DC, so Will B says, I was trying to see how many knives is too many. I still haven't figured it out. Keep adding them, man. Every day, add one. Have a Knife Day says, apparently karaoke is starting, and off I go. Just not to sing. Have a knife night. Alrighty, man. Have a knife night yourself. And if you're with your significant other or anyone else, have a good night with them and enjoy. Talk to you later, man. Blame Dexter. Carried my Venom Jack today in Mars Valley carbon fiber. Love that. It reminds me of the lava oceans of Mustafar. What is Mustafar? That sounds familiar. Mike Flamian says Randall 14 attack model, model 14 attack knife for fixed blade, and Shirogorov 95T Gen 4. And I think that's the knife I want from Shirogorov. I think. And the Spyderco Arc plus the Victorinox Cadet. Do you ever lose a knife or lose something and know that it's lost, but every once in a while think like, well, maybe I didn't check everywhere, and then start looking? It's so sad. I did that. My dad gave me this really cool watch, and I don't know where. I don't lose watches. I don't know. I know it didn't just fall off my wrist. I don't know what the hell happened to it. I feel like it's in this house. But I just cannot find it. And every once in a while, I'll go off in this sad, like a sailor's wife wandering the shore. Oh, when is that ship going to return? That's me looking for the watch, or looking for my Cadet. My Victorinox Cadet was so cool, and it was all broken in, and it was mine. And I don't know what happened to that. Anyway. Drive Strength says, don't sleep on the Scallywag Tactical kitchen knives. I didn't know they had kitchen knives. Got two people. I'm sorry. Got two people some for Christmas gifts this past year, and they were huge hits. That's cool. I didn't know that. They have a cool sort of short sword that I like too. And a lot of, and then they have another cool knife that is very thin in the handle and kind of wraps around, and then it's got a little blade, and it's just a wicked little self-defense fixie. Interesting stuff. Hungry Bird says a Demco 20.5 I got because you said your brother likes his. Well, yeah, actually he's been telling me that is his, because I got it for him for his birthday 2021. Or no, it ended up being Christmas by the time I got. Wait, how did that work? I don't remember. But yeah, he really loves it, and he carries his all the time. And the thing is I got him the blade I wanted. I felt like I had to get a shark's foot blade for some reason. And so I did, knowing that I wouldn't like it's just kind of ugly. Anyway, a Demco 80/20.5 because you said your brother likes his, a Cold Steel 80/15, and No Limit Night Stalker from the Beard of Doom. No Limit. What the hell is that? No Limit Night Stalker. That sounds like something I need in my life. It sounds cool. For some reason, it sounds like a sap. Something you hit on the back of the head of someone that you're stalking. It's a Gungan says, love the Emerson Tiger. I haven't worn mine in a while. That is funny. That's a little Freudian slip. I say it sometimes too. Wearing a knife, as if it's a fashion accessory as opposed to carrying a knife, like a tool, something that you carry. So yeah, yep. I wear knives too. Hungry Bird says, that was a good show Sunday, Professor EDC. Oh, cool. Thank you. Or thank, and then he can say you, because I was half and he was half. G Galeck says, have one there. Awesome. Emerson rocks for me. Wait. Have one. They're awesome. Emerson rocks for me. Me too, man. I love Emerson. I haven't bought a new one in a while, ever since Joe the Knife Whisperer stole two of them from me. God, man, it's like I haven't had the heart to go out and buy a new one. It's a Gungan says, say what you want about Emerson. The ergonomics are amazing. They are. And the edges are the blades are amazing. You know what? They go through the adolescent phase of break-in, and that is the issue. No other knife for me comes close, he says. Yeah, ergonomically, I agree. You know who might come close for you, maybe ergonomically, because I kind of put them in a similar camp in my mind, is Bastinelli. Some really targeted ergonomics on his knives. Michael Morgan says, how far away is your Emerson Commander? About 5 seconds away. Oh, you want to see one? You want to see it? All right, let's see how quickly this can be done. You have a couple of knives to gaze at. And time me. How long did that take? That was like nothing. That was less than 5 seconds. Admit it. All right. Professor EDC says Joker knives are really good in general, particularly the ones from Jose Sabater. So is a Sabater, is that a knife maker? I like Sabatier, it sounds like, and at great prices. Yeah, beautiful stag handles too, on the ones I was looking at. So here's my Emerson. This is from the year 2000. This is from the year 2000, or from 2000. We don't say the year 1900. We don't say the year 1800. We just say 1800. So I'm just going to say this is from 2000. Shredder says, Bob, that fixed blade looks awesome. Wait. Which one? Oh, this one. This one. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Any opportunity. It's like having it. Well, you know, it's sort of like when you have a new baby and you're like, oh, look at what she did. Look. That's kind of how I feel about this. I love how those red liners go with the burgundy. Oh, am I making a mistake? Yeah, I do too. But I've always had a thing about putting the color, like rhyming. Okay, it's like in a song. To me, I bristle at someone who rhymes one line with the next line with the same word. That just bothers me. That's like, is it really a rhyme? It's the same word. You just said it at the end of this next sentence too. It's how I feel about having two colors of the same family next to one another. Two reds, two greens, two blues. I don't know why. So that's my aversion to this. That's why I think I'm going to go a little contrastier. That was totally incorrect. Blame Dexter. I carry a Ted Grizzler at least once or twice a week. What is that? TED Grizzler. That sounds cool. All right, let me show you this this Emerson from 2000. Here it is. It's got the setup of like a custom where you take off the G10 with these little screws. And by the way, the G10 looks primitive. It looks like half micarta. So my guess is you are not envious of my Razorback having Magna Cut, Python micarta. It's the long jimped thumb ramp. Magna Cut's cool, but I have LMAX. Like I don't know, Magna Cut isn't the one. And the Python micarta, I played out myself when I had a scale made for my XM18 that I used to carry all the time. So it's not that. It is the extended thumb jimping, the sort of bayonet. But I have altered how I hold this thing, so it works just fine. And I'll show it off in a minute. Nick EDCer says, I carry the Guardian 3 and the Sea Snake. Oh, that's nice. On the way, that's about it for me for fixed blades. Those are both great knives, though. I love that Sea Snake. So here it is with the thin liners and that sort of primitive G10 that is almost like micarta, and that beautiful blade with the long swedge and the clip. This is a clip point. It really does have a clip right here. You can see it. Kind of like subtle, like a Sebenza has a clip. And no, I wouldn't call this a recurve clip point. That would just be totally anal retentive of me. But it is a recurve clip point. But I'm not going to call it that because I don't think it's recognized as such by the greater world. Deplorable says, I used to carry my Tops T-bow. Oh, that's a good one. But lately it's been the Wee Knives Smooth Sentinel. I like the name. But that T-bow, that was a pretty cool knife too. Max the Maker says, wait, am I correct? Is that the short dagger? But now I'm thinking New York City, it might not be. That might not be something you'd want to carry there. So I might have the model wrong. Max the Maker says, part one. Since the start of the week, I've been carrying, in terms of knives, the Kaiser Swayback used to cut a bag of nuts today. And last but not least, my new Schwartz Knives Custom Overland. That's a cool knife, which is now my... Bob, we carry fixed blades all day long. I knew that, and I love that. But we are in the mountains near Yosemite. If we were 5 hours over in San Francisco, we would be in jail by now. Well, yeah, for probably one of many reasons. In San Francisco, gee whiz, man, Yosemite. You ever hear strange tree knocks? You ever hear strange howls at night? Have you seen Jack Wolf Knives' new pattern? Yes, I have. I love a bow trapper. It's like a bow, a sow belly. Ooh, I love a sow belly. Arizona Highlight Homestead. Good to have you. Highland. Arizona Highland Homestead. All right, there we go. It's a pleasure to have you here. Howdy, y'all. Almost always is my Wave Plus as the EDC. Wave Plus. What's that? What's the Wave Plus? No, I'm not going to speculate. Clarify, or give me another name so I know which one you're talking about. Okay, Never Enough Knives says Cold Steel was the 4-inch, and the Ozark Trail, okay, was the drop point with the wood scales. Okay, I don't think I've seen that Ozark, and thank you for the information. Now I can build a mental picture. Hungry Bird says Knife Center has Manix 2XL for $171. Nice. All right, Luck Knives, how you doing? Formerly NAF is Luck Knives. Good to have you here, man. What up? I saw you have 9 blades in the works right now with 3 pretty cool steels. Keep an eye on him. If you followed NAF before, you've been ushered over, or I shouldn't say that. He's just changed his name to reflect his knife making. So check it out. Arizona Highland says, yep, lost my small Spyderco Dragonfly and have looked for it everywhere multiple times. Isn't that sad? It is sad. I hate it. It's like, well, I mean, the watch thing, I still, man, it grinds at my gut. And someday I just hope I find it. And like, oh, thank God. My dad gave it to me. He was so psyched to give it to me. And I was so psyched to receive it. And then what happened to it? It drives me nuts. All right, it's compartmentalized. It's been put away. Mustafar is the hellish planet from Star Wars. Okay. I gotcha. Where Anakin turns into Darth Vader. Fun fact: it used to be a very lush, pretty garden planet. Am I noting some parallels? But then someone tried to bring her husband back to life, which pushed the planet off axis. Huh. Interesting. Bob, it's not too late to get your ticket for California Custom Knife Show. Show exclusive knives is a two-tone. Okay. Show exclusive knife is a two-tone Shirogorov 95T with blue highlights and S90V blade. How nice, man. Yeah, I know it's not too late, like technically, but I just, that is something that has to be planned at this stage in my life. It has to be planned a little bit further out to accommodate the crazy schedules of the family. Max the Maker, part 2, most expensive knife, and so far I've cut beets, apples. So I'm trying to remember what he was talking about. And he used his well, I'm trying to remember what it was now. But the most expensive knife. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Oh, the Schwartz. Yeah, that's right. The custom Overland is now my most expensive knife. And so far I've cut beets, apples, wood, tomato, garlic, bread. Oh, yeah, yeah. It looks like garlic bread. And then I saw Gaelic bread, onions, kohlrabi, potatoes, a bag of grit, uh, peppers, cardboard, bananas, olives, a bag of food, and cheese. What do you mean a bag of food? You can't just list all of this food and then say a bag of food. Cake limes, and last, I used it to spread butter. The shape of it actually, is it hollow ground? Is it hollow ground? That'd be sweet. But since it's on TJ Schwartz's new mill, and I know he's pretty, over the past 2 years, new at milling, I'm not so sure about hollow grinding on one of those mills. I mean, I know they do it, but I'm not sure if that's a different skill. Anyway, whatever. From that list, you can see I was trying only to use my EDC knives, but I did use a paring knife to cut a banana, so I failed. Hey, man. I know. But now that I have what I mean by I know is I try and use when I'm preparing a meal, I don't use my EDC knives, but I definitely use them for food at work and stuff like that. But I'm starting to see the value of having nice kitchen knives, like nice kitchen knives. So hopefully that's, that trend continues. The Steve the Super Steel Steve knife that I got, the Steve oh man, why is his name escaping me? Kalari custom knife is so awesome. Except my wife washed it last night and then left it, and it didn't dry. Anyway, we have to have a little talk about taking care of that knife. What is up, junkies? Kevin Moore, good to have you here. Kevin Moore, I carried my baby banter today, and I bet you had your Wingard wearables quill. Or maybe not. G. Gleck says, Emerson's have some of the best ergos I've ever held. I have almost their whole lineup. Oh, dude. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Only Emerson's I've had is the Quaken, and overall I liked it. Wish they would start using Torx. Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot that they don't use Torx. You're right. Look at this. Not Torx. Phillips. Yeah, that's weird. But I know it's old. They started it for probably field serviceability, and then ended up, just keeping it because it's quaint. It's a Gungan said, I want a super Quaken. Yes, that would be cool. I wouldn't mind the super Elvia they just came out with, though. I don't, I kind of like the Elvia for its size. That's part of it. But hey, I love the shape and the look of it, so to have a bigger one would be cool. Because let's see, it's a Gungan says, wish Emerson would bring back the Super and Uber models. They do have some Super, don't they? I don't know about the Uber though. Do they have Uber models like really really big? Hey, what's up, Hollywood Tactical? Good to have you here. Whoa, Joe the Knife Whisperer stole knives from you? That's sinister. Yeah, Joe. He's disappeared. I think he did a number of people dirty, and Therapeutic Edge definitely outed him. He did, took something out from him. I was quiet about it, and probably that was not a good idea. And then when Therapeutic Edge came out and said that he was ripped off by him, I was like, oh, okay. So I guess I don't have to be that embarrassed or feel like that much of a fool. And so I, told people too. Yeah, not cool. Anyway, Luck Knives says, carry the Brown Mini FSD and the Luck Squall #1. Okay, so what is I know Luck is so the Squall is is that an EDC? Is it cleavery? Because I know I've seen a bigger knife of yours. I'm trying to remember what the smaller knife is. But anyway, I think it's really cool that you're doing knife making, and I know that you're approaching it very methodically. As far as I can tell, you're taking your time and going about it in a way and learning it really well. So hats off to you, and I hope you have a lot of success. It's a Gungan says, people pack in wait. People pack in San Fran. We Be Knives is a cool store on the pier. Really? No way. For some reason, I just assumed the other. Oh, Leatherman Wave Plus. Okay. All right. Gotcha. G Gleck, thank you, by the way. G Gleck, Bob, gotta look up that Vampire UUK by Lacey Zabo. I used to have the Lacey Zabo page and the Daraspina page linked, or not linked, but in my favorites bar at a long time ago. It's been a long time, but I used to browse there. If you don't know, Lacey Zabo's stuff is awesome, and also Richard Daraspina's stuff is really awesome too. Kind of in the same vein. If you don't know Daraspina, look him up too. He's kind of probably most famous for his karambits, but he does some really, really cool regular fixed blades. And not regular, but James Moore says, Bob, when will you get an Arius? Seems inevitable. Yeah, James, it's funny. I've been kind of not I have not been acquiring many folders in the last months. I've been just kind of on this fixed blade kick. The Arius is something I would love to get because with a little bit of distance from my folder collection, distance meaning in terms of interest, I've been able to look at it a little more coldly. And I'm like, yeah, the top drawer, I have a bottom drawer in the place where I keep most of my folders that has like the Civivis and that stuff, the Civivis and the Bestecs and the send cuts and such, and I kind of feel like clearing that out. I feel like it's extra, and I feel like I never carry those, and they're around for comparisons and just to have. But if I got rid of those and just took that money and bought an Arius, I would need more than, well, I don't know, it doesn't matter, but just find one and buy it. That would be awesome. No, it's not an Air King. It's an Air King inspired watch by Pagani. I got approval from Dirk Werning to wear it. Actually, because Dirk Werning's got a beautiful Air King. I can never see myself. I mean, even if I were to make a million, well, even if I were a millionaire, like I don't know, man. I love watches, but I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could spend like a Rolex money, spend Rolex money on a Rolex, even if I had it. You know what I mean? Or if I'd be just like, well, if I'm gonna like spend a whole lot of money on something that I don't need, I'm gonna get like a whole bunch of knives. I don't know. I could see myself going that direction. But thank you for noticing. I love it. And actually, Pagani. I think they use the Japanese Seiko automatic movement. It's more accurate than my two Seiko 5s. This thing is nuts on all the time. And I can set it down, not wear it for a day and pick it back up. And it's still, checks to the minute with my iPhone. That's, I don't go to the second, but you figure seconds add up over two days. So, yeah, it's a good watch. For $100, it's a cheap watch. Kevin Moore says, I received my Pete's Pirate knife today. Such a cool knife. I was damn tickled to get it on that drop. Early Happy Hawaiian Shirt Friday. Happy Hawaiian Shirt Friday to you, Kevin. Pete's Pirate knife. What is this? Oh, why? I feel totally out of it tonight. I feel like everything you guys are mentioning, I'm like, what's that? What's that? What's that? I maybe not enough time spent doom scrolling this week and looking at knives, but for some reason that's not coming to me. It's called Zabonic. Love these weekly meetings. Sweet. Blame Dexter says, I finally was able to pick up a ProTech Magic Whispers. Those are whiskers. Such an interesting knife. Yeah, I love that scale release or bolster release. Hopefully ProTech does a run of them with the sapphire coating. Ah, interesting. You mean on the blade? I take it. Pagani makes cool homage watches. Yeah. So it's a Gungan. Are you obviously you're a watch guy, but I mean, do you have a special affinity for any certain kind of watch? Yes, Pagani makes some fun beaters. That's a good way of putting it, actually. A Rolex is a good investment. You get tired of it, you can sell it for what you paid for. It's sometimes more. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about that. Yeah. 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 Oh boy, that would be a hard one to explain. But baby, I love watches, and this is a really good watch. Be like, yeah. Oh, I know what we'll do. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not even going to suggest it because I'll be run out on a rail. Um, but okay, so let me show you since I've been beating around the bush, or we were talking a little bit about it. Let me show you my um, my Razorback from Dirk Pinkerton. So you probably have seen Dave's Razorback from Dirk Pinkerton, which he got, I don't know, I would say maybe in November or October, something like that. Right around the time I was becoming aware of this knife. Um, Dirk sent this very knife to me to check out, and I did a video on it, and then I expressed my interest in buying it, but it was Christmas time and I just couldn't justify the purchase at the time. But wait till after Christmas, basically. And so I sent it back to him, and he put the secondary edge on top. It is so unbelievably sharp. Even the secondary edge, which they're usually more, well, they're more oblique by definition, unless it's a dagger and you have equal sides. But here, this is hollow ground, and this is paper, not paper thin, but deeply hollow ground, very thin behind the edge here. So two very, very nice edges on this, and a really nice ergonomic handle. And what's great about it is that it's just as long as it needs to be. It can be in reverse grip. It's perfect in reverse grip. And this is a long knife. It's like 6-inch blade, and it carries somewhat comfortably in the waistband. Now, I say somewhat because walking around, it's fine. Sitting down, it's a little bit of this. And in the car, for me, it's not really doable in the car. Um, I'm sorry, in the way that I carry. So all the other knives I carry, when I sit down in the car, I can just adjust it. This one was just a little bit too long with a 6-inch blade. But that's a lot to ask in the waistband. So this knife is inspired by two different knives. This is inspired by when Dirk reached out and said, "Do you want to check this out?" It was as I was on my Bowie knife tear and was talking about Bowies constantly and talking about how I was into Bowies constantly. He's like, "Yeah, you're into clip points? Check this one out." So he sent this, and I was like, "Well, I love it, but it's not much of a Bowie to me, or it's a Bowie with an extreme clip that starts at the crest of the thumb ramp. And yeah, sure, I could see that, but to me, it looks more like a Jembaya or a Conjar. And actually, he based this on the Hell's Bells Bowie knife by Bill Bagwell, and which was a custom knife, but also in production by Ontario Knife Company for a while. Never got one. God. And the Conjar. So the Conjar together with a long, thin, long swedged fighting Bowie. That's what these two knives. Those are the two knives that went into inspiring the design of the Razorback, and some of that has to do with the somewhat coffin-shaped handle, and then the curved double-edged blade. So kind of combining the coffin handle and the double-edged curved blade. But those were the two knives he was looking at, which I think is pretty cool. It's interesting to find out someone's inspiration. And that's why he was like, "Oh, if you like Bowies, you'll like this," because the Bowie knife was part of what inspired this design. So this thing is so cool. And it's L-Max, as you can see right there. I like the way he stamped it, L-Max. And it's just, I mean, you can't feel it, but it feels really light in hand. It's got a really nice balance right here at the first finger choil, or at the first finger. It's like right where you want it to be. Now what we were talking about before, what Dave was talking about, is he ordered his custom, I believe, and asked Dirk to like, this one was already made and I bought it from Dirk, and he asked Dirk to extend this so it was more of a bayonet grind, and maybe the edge starts maybe right about there, and then there was a downhill sort of jimped forward place to put your thumb for that sort of Filipino grip. I would love that on this knife, but since it's not there, I don't have that option, and so I don't fret about it. I have it, I have this. But I do like the tweaks that Dave made to the design. I think they're definitely worthwhile. Look at that. That's so beautiful. I love the fact that it's curved and double edged. I mean, you can also hold it like this if you wanted to, and get some nasty little pecking, gashing hawkbill sort of cuts. Wait, can you go back to that? I need that Razorback, says It's a Gungan. Oh, I highly recommend it. You will love it, man. Rolex, Tudor, and Seiko's. I'm a bit obsessed. Yes. I don't mean yes, but it's nice to know that I'm not the only person out there obsessed materially. And I guess I knew that, but it's nice to hear. Misery loves company. Knives too, but that's a bit obvious given the company. So Tudor, am I correct? Tudor is like the Lexus, or no, not the Lexus, but Tudor is like the Civivi of Rolex. Is that right? Aren't they related companies? Hollywood Tactical says sort of looks like a historical Bowie knife in museums. Oh, that's interesting. Before they had the real dramatic clip, like the Musso style. Happy Haptics EDC, good to have you here. Happy Haptics. Y'all should look into Sin, some of the finest some of the finest tool watches available for the tag. I have the 556 IB, and it's my favorite piece in the collection. Ooh, okay. Covers all bases, any occasion type thing. All right, so you can tell Happy Haptics is a watch guy because he's calling it a piece, which is cool. And I would love to see your collection. And when you say tool watch, what does that mean? Do you mean like tooling around watch like this? Kind of has the styling of a more expensive watch that I'd love to have, but I don't feel nervous about banging it around. Curious about that. It's a Gungan says Sins are great. Love their divers, and yeah, you can wear them literally everywhere. Oh, cool. Sin. All right, gonna write that down. Sin watches. And now that I've said it out loud and my phone is in the room, I know it'll start popping up in my Instagram feed. So Sin watches. All right. It's a Gungan says, yeah, Tudor is a sub brand of Rolex. Okay. And I'm presuming not as premium. I mean, a really sweet watch, but not as expensive, basically. Man, I saw I interviewed a guy at work. I mentioned him a little while ago on this show. He was an aging philanthropist, a super rich guy, and kind of a little, well, going senile. But in any case, he had the most gangster watch. I mean, he was an older white gentleman, with a suit and in his mid to late 70s, and his watch, man, looks like it fell off a wrapper. It was like diamond encrusted Rolex, like all around the bezel and everything, and it looked out of place on this guy. Actually, it's like he's carrying half of his wealth on his wrist. It was very, very interesting. That's not a bang around watch. That's not a tool watch. It's a Gungan says, there's a pretty good argument to be made that Tudor is on par with Rolex. Oh, okay. In terms of urology, is that what the word is? Niche Designs, how's it going? Sin has produced Zinn. Oh, Zinn. It's German. Oh my God, that's so funny, dude. I mean, I know it's a very popular shirt, but I was like, right before we started rolling, I was like, I'm going to throw on my t-shirt. And I was like, it's hot. So I still love your work. And let me ask you something. Are those your egresses? Two models of egress that I've been seeing. Is that Artisan or is that you, Nick? Anyway, because the name and the handle looks a lot like my egress, at least the my old egress prototype, from a couple of years ago that you gave me. The handle looks very, very much the same. The blade looks a lot different, the blades. But is that you? If so, awesome, and I want to get one. Never Enough Knives 007 says, I would agree on Tudor being on par with Rolex. All right, so on par on what level? Are you talking about strictly in terms of how it keeps time? Or are you talking about build and fit and finish and all that durability and such? Happy Haptics says it's a German company that's been on the rise for a while. Zinn. Leveling up their game everywhere. Big innovations. No FB journey, but well worth their merits and prices they demand. I don't know what that means. No FB journey. Journée? I don't know what that means. Watches. Yep. Well, this one, I got a leather, like a light brown calf skin band for. I think I might put on, but this is so comfortable. This is like the most comfortable metal watch I've ever had. It fits perfectly, and it's light. It's nice and light. My Seiko, it's like a dive watch kind of, is by comparison just too thick. Yes, I collaborated with Concept. That's right, Concept, who is awesome. Their knives on a production version of the Egress, very inspired by the Ingress you have. By the Ingress, hey, congratulations. That is awesome. Those knives look so beautiful, and I would even venture to say more beautiful than the Ingress. Like I think you took the design to a even more graceful and compelling out of place. And I know there are two different blades, if I'm remembering correctly, and I liked them both. So very nice. Very, very happy to see that. Hollywood Tactical says, Es macht keinen Sinn. It doesn't make any sense. 9. Okay, Never Enough Knives 007 says, build quality and materials. Build quality and materials. They spend more on the marketing and Rolex branding. Just my opinion. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Rolex, they sponsor tennis, right? And yacht racing and car racing, all sorts of like Formula One, like all of the upper crusty sort of somewhat European sports. And don't they do timing for like the Olympics and stuff? It's a Gungan says, welcome to the Watch Junkie, everybody. Can't do it. I've been told. No, watches, so dangerous. Peter McKinnon, YouTuber, photographer, etc. Big in the EDC bits. He's developed a lot of coins, cases, and other stuff. I know the name Peter McKinnon. I think maybe from you, Kevin. Recently, he dropped a sweet fixed blade that I missed out on. Okay, I'll have to check that out. I mean, I know you were answering me asking what you were talking about, but now I have to check it out because it still doesn't quite. It rings a bell, but I can't hear the song. Happy Haptic says a tool watch is something that's built for work first and play later, function over form type deal. Also, FP Journée, I'm gonna say, is the ultimate watch brand. Picasso of Orology, 300,000 plus US dollars. Holy crap. FP Journée. There was one, a Le Coultre. I know that there's a French brand. My grandfather had a Le Coultre. It's hard to pronounce. And it was a cool watch, and I always loved it, admired it. I think actually he gave it to my brother, which is funny because I was the one who was always like, "Oh, Grandpa, let me see the watch." But beautiful, beautiful watch. And then I remember later being, I don't know, on an airplane or something, and flipping through the pages and saw a Jaeger LeCoultre watch. And it was like, it had the little retail down there. And I was like, what? Like, that must have been a gift. I don't know. It was an expensive it was an expensive watch in that magazine. I didn't realize it was such a respected brand. Luminox, that's the one I lost, was a Luminox watch. 3200 dive watch, best beater watch for the money. Have mine since '06. That's awesome. My dad has a thing for Luminox watches. He bought me one with the cool plastic links, you know, the oyster links and the orange face. And I just don't know what happened to it. Oh, this is maddening. All right, I'm going to put that away right back where it was. Okay, there it is. Just get a Grand Seiko and be done, Bob. Well, that's the thing. You wouldn't be done. It's like apologizing when you're canceled. You can never apologize publicly. Look at all the politicians who never apologize. They seem to make it. The ones who don't, everyone smells blood in the water and they get in there. It's the same thing with watches. One watch collection. If I get a Grand Seiko, I'll be like, but what about the other Grand Seiko, you know? And then, you know, whatever. That's how my brain works. Let me show you this. This is pretty cool. This is very cool. This is from our good friend Casey at Knives Fast and Tempest Knives. This is his new one, the Microburst. And this, a Kubi made knife and designed by Casey, is this is a prototype. And there are a couple of little changes. I'm not going to detail them here, mainly because I don't have them in front of me. But when I do a video on this, I will. But you can see I've already used it to cut up a couple of cardboard boxes. Last night was trash night. This thing is awesome. I really, really like the pinion. I was on, you know, I got the pre-order for this pinion. I really liked it because, like this one, I got a chance to check out the prototype, liked it a lot. This knife, less appealing to me by looks, but it feels great in hand, and the blade is awesome. The blade is really nice. You get a little bit of belly up front. You get a considerable straight shot. You get a finger choil, and that beautiful swedge adds something to it. But it is just really thin and slicey. And I think that may have been I think that may have been a criticism of this knife, that it was spine to edge, shallower, and therefore not as slicey or something. I don't know. To me, I love this knife, and I have mine wicked sharp, and I don't know. I love it. So I don't have that criticism, but I feel like I heard that criticism of that. This one here seems, if that criticism indeed was leveled, this one takes care of it by half, by a mile. It's just so thin and slicey. So I really like this. This is micarta on. It's got the same sort of build here with the nested liners with weight relief and the liner lock, and just really nice micarta and great bearing action. Again, he's got the wire clip, and that can be swapped out with like the Lynch wire clip. So there you go. I love seeing people doing stuff. Casey, nice work. Nice work on that here, on that there knife. Anyone check out that knife? Anyone see that one yet? I know people are starting to post it because that prototype's been going around. Yeah, I told myself I bought my last watch 12 watches ago. Dude, you didn't buy your last watch. You just bought the last one this week, or for now, you know. It's like you know, so I do a lot of shooting of video and film. Well, not film ever, not in a long time, but I'm on a lot of, you know, video shoots, and I've gotten out of that. I got out of the habit a long time ago of saying, okay, just one more, or like, let's do one more take. Because it's inevitably, if you have to do another take, usually that means you have to do another one after that. And then there's a safety take. So like, just one more for safety. You can't do that because the person who's actually doing the performing thinks that it's actually just one more. And you don't mean that. You mean another. And that's what you mean with that watch. With your 12 watches ago watch. They just keep coming, man. They just keep coming. I would like to show you a knife from Do you guys remember Mike Snowdy? Um, he was he is a knife designer. He had a lot of he like okay, let me try and explain if you don't know who he is. But I feel like when the custom knife craze started in earnest, or at least for me, kind of in the early 2000s. Anyway, he designed some knives. He did a lot of made knives in his shop in Florida, and I think he had some. I think maybe he got in a little trouble here and there, and then he got born again, turned his life around, that kind of thing. Mike Snowdy, yeah, I know he had a very speckled past, but some interesting knives that he both made and then designed for production companies. Well, I hadn't heard his name in a little while, but here he is. He's back with a knife with Artisan, and this thing is cool looking. I think it's beautiful. And I'm just going to continue to call it this thing because I don't think it's got a name yet. But it's, as you can see, it's got these really nicely contoured handles with the pinky and forefinger groove, and then the middle swale, and just a really nice harpoon drop point blade. And you will not hear me often say really nice harpoon anything, because I'm not a big into harpoon kind of guy, but I love this blade shape. I love the widen. What is that shape? It's like a keyhole shape kind of, and it just looks comfortable. And that's a big boy. That's a 3.86-inch blade, and I love that. This is going to be an AR RPM 9, Artisan Cutlery's proprietary steel, and it isn't totally ambidextrous, but they're calling it a comet-shaped cutout. That's pretty good. But do you really have to have it clipped to your left pocket? So I say no. This thing looks cool. I don't know. I like it. What do you guys think? Any interest? I like Artisan Cutlery. I do have to say that. And I like the area around the look at the plunge grind and the sharpening choil. That looks like a really well done plunge grind. And I'm just going off of what I've learned from Jared Neve and from Stasa 23 when they talk about sharpening knives and sharpening choils, and that whole setup looks just ideal. And then you look at the point, and with that harpoon swedge, it's going to have the penetration nearly of a dagger type thing, or at least of a clip point, because you have that diamond cross section up front at the point. Yep, I like it. Will I get it? I don't know. I'm trying to cut the frivolous ones out of my life, but it's hard to do. And then when you make the decision to sell some, then you have the problem of where do you sell it? I just went to post some stuff to Blade Forums, and I was like, you don't have rates. I'm like, oh, I forgot to re-up. And I just started wondering, like, should I just make a couple of videos and sell knives? No, I've never sold a knife when I've made a knife sale video. So, Oh, okay. Here we go. It's actually pronounced more like "Ye jure le coultre." Le Jaeger, le coultre. I'm pretty sure Francois Paul Journet worked for them and studied Antoine Lecoultre's inventions before making his own incredible mechanism. Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool, man. So, okay, you guys, a couple of you guys here, It's a Gungan and Happy Haptics, seem to know a lot about watches, and that's cool. It's cool to hear about the background, because we do a lot of that with knives. So and so worked under so and so and learned from so and so. That's cool. Really like that Snowdy design, says Professor EDC. Me too. And Maroon Micarta is it's low hanging fruit for me. Hate that I like these Chinese knives. Yeah. Well, when you look at that knife, that Snowdy knife, and you say I like it in a picture, you're actually liking, oh, Philip Patek, you're actually liking the design, the American design. Of course, they're taking it and turning it into a great knife, and then you get it in hand. You're like, bummer that I like this so much. But just from looking at it, it's okay. You're allowed to do that because it's an American design. G. Gleck says, very nice. Or at least he said very nice. I don't know if he actually meant very nice. Happy Haptic said, if you guys are fascinated with timekeeping mechanisms, go look into amazing stuff Facebook FP came up with over the course of his career. And I think is that Philippe Patek? Or I guess he would be a PH. This is something Jim put in our chat. Came up with over the course of his career. He's some type of wizard. Start with a tourbillon souverain. Cool. And it's all in barely pronounceable French. Man, look at that. Doesn't that look cool? I'm just very okay. Yeah, I'll just add emphasis for you, So my daughter was talking about how she's not even she's you know what, she's in that demographic that the Surgeon General is talking about. It's funny how the Surgeon General is like 13 is way too young for what the hell do you call it? Geez, I am spacing out now. For social media, because they're not smart enough, or they're not developed enough to make decisions. You're basically saying it's you're opening up the world to them, and they're not sophisticated enough to navigate it, especially when you have devious adults and lascivious people trying to take advantage of them at every step. And their decision making is not developed enough until they're 25 and their prefrontal cortex, blah blah blah. But they can make totally irreversible changes to their body at any age if they just declare that's what they are. And I'm not meaning to get into it, but that is rich. Okay, that is rich to me. But anyway, my daughter was talking about how when she gets in these toxic fights, FP journée, he says, these toxic fights with her frenemies in text, they all double click on the caps lock so they can just scream at each other. And I'm like, man, that's not good either. So she's taking a little break. She doesn't have any social media, but she's taking a little break from her phone, period. That damn thing, man. I swear one of these days I'm gonna curb stomp all of the devices in this house except for my phone and my wife's phone. That's it. No more iPads, no more iPhones unless it's mine or my wife's. And hell, man, TV can go too, as far as I'm concerned. Well, no, not the TV. Not the TV. But their iPads can go. Anyway, sorry for the rant, but that's just how it is, and that's how I feel. I have a couple of cool things around me tonight. Let me show you this. This is one that I forget about from time to time, though it comes up a lot in conversation. And it's the SOG, in this case, the Super Bowie. But I was talking last night with Donnie B all day, D-Bad, and he hates the double peaked Bowie. Like he picked it out. Like, but I didn't mention the SOG or the Mac V SOG style of knife that SOG popularized with the clip point and the two humps there. Organically out of conversation, he brought it up and just trashed it. And like I could feel my cheeks redden and my eyes moisten, and I felt my hands clench and my palms sweat, and I thought I might just burst into angry tears right on the spot. And then I held it back and I continued the discussion. But I was like, man, It is beautiful. It's undeniably a beautiful shape. And he's like, "Oh, that secondary hump, it's not going to widen the wound channel and this and that." And I'm like, I'm not so sure that that's the whole point. Who's to say that the designer of the Mac V SOG Bowie that was used clandestinely in Vietnam, who's to say that that person wasn't just indulging in a little joie de vivre and just didn't want to make something beautiful, that future generations such as myself could spend their money on and admire, irrationally. Does everything have to be about widening the wound channel? Does everything have to have a purpose? Uh, is what I said inside as I agreed and shook my head. Yes, you're right. Never again. Never again. Anyway, I love this thing. I really, really love the shape of the Mac V SOG in all of its incarnations. I even love the ones that kind of refer to it secondhand, like the designs of K Max ROM. They all have that double hump. I just think I don't know, it's appealing to me. What can I say? What can I say? I also brought out that Bowie is absolutely gorgeous, says Professor EDC. What do you think of the stacked leather handles? I love stacked leather. I like how it feels. I like how it looks. And I really like how it feels a lot. But I'm wondering if leather stacking technology has gotten to the point where this has not seen any sort of um, real elements at all. I wonder how this would do over the years, being exposed to the elements and that. If I were to do so, which I won't. This is an AUS 8 blade, and for a while I was really depressed about that when I was going through my anti-AUS 8 stage. But now I feel like I've come full circle. I've matured a little bit, and now I really, I'm willing to say the quiet part out loud, which is none of us deserve the steals we have. Not one of us deserve the steals we have. It's the warriors of the past who deserve the steals we have, and they can't have it. So we get it. But, my bagel in the morning does not need crew wear. Professor EDC says, let's remember there's a utilitarian aspect, but there's also the aesthetic aspect of knife making. Exactly. And even if something is intended to be a weapon, you still want to design it with some beauty in mind. And I think maybe I have biased eyes, but something like this, it's a beautiful design. It's unusual, unexpected, and the utility. It was made for a certain utility, like fighting humans and defending yourself against fleshy attackers, but it also actually happens to make an excellent utility knife because it's not thin at the tip like the civilian, which has that same sort of serrated S-curve blade. It's nice and thick up there. You can do all sorts of stuff with this knife. It's just looks a little menacing, but imagine under a plastic strap on a crate, all day long. Boof. Great utility knife this would be. Professor EDC says one is a tool and the other is more than just a tool. Yes, it transcends tool because some love has gone into it and some artistic thought. What's up, junkies? Says Chad Damron. Chad, good to have you here, sir. What is that you got? Is that wine? Oh, New Belgium. That's a beer. Beer. It's a Gungan says, I own 204p and 3V, but if I'm honest with myself, I'm only worth 440B. Oh, I don't even know if I've heard of 440B. I've heard of 440A and C, but it's a Gungan. You're at least worth C. I'm going to say that. I'm going to come right out, but I know what you mean, man. Yeah, I'm about worth 8 CR. I'm about worth 3 CR. Usually In design, utility is elegant. Yes, agreed. Agreed. It's like these Filipino swords. There is definitely a decorative element in them, but they were meant for, what they were meant for. And their beauty comes out of the shapes that they concluded were most efficient for cutting, and they are beautiful. Blade Ogre says, oh yeah, the black talon tears up weeds and small limbs galore. Yes, I never even thought of that. Perfect for that. I hear of people using the this has an edge on the insides, using the hook for the Wingard Wearables back ripper for gardening, and you can just kind of grab and prune, grab your. Well, it's the same thing with this. Yeah, I could totally see that. This perfect with this sort of grip. Just grab your stuff. And vines, oh my God, when spring comes and I start talking obsessively about vines again, maybe I'll do that this time. Gas station steel. Yeah, that's all I'm worth is a little bit of gas station. Okay, all right, I'm sorry about that. That's an inside joke between me and my brother, and it wouldn't make any sense to you. Yeah, sad sack. That's my sad sack voice. All right. I think I have one other. Oh, no. No, I don't want to show that. I don't want to show that. Those are old. I don't know. I put an old news story in there. I was in a rush to get this run of show. So anyone looking forward to the weekend? anyone looking forward to the weekend? Hey, Cleveland, I'll be here all week. No, but let me know what's going on. What's happening this weekend? Is there anything besides California Custom Knife Show, which I'm going to be missing, that's going on in the knife world? And actually, James, if you're still here, are you hunting anything while you're going to the California Custom Knife Show? Will you be buying anything or anything special out there that you're looking for? I'd love to know. And also, I'm assuming that they're mostly folders, but I don't know if I should, because, the world of tactical knives is great and big. And for instance, we were talking about Spartan blades before. We've got that Spartan blades and Les George knife coming out, that dagger, that Marine Raider dagger they have coming out. It's going to be bigger than this. Oh, I can't wait for that. And that is going to be $150, which is considerably less than this. I mean, you could get 4 of them for the, wait. Sorry. Three of them for this price of this brand new. And these you can't always get. This is the Bill Harsey dagger. This one I got on the secondary market and was so happy. I got it on Blade Forums. Was so happy that the guy I bought it from had the leather sheath. This Chattanooga leatherwork sheath is just killer, man. It's so beautiful. But yeah, always like to have a dagger out on the table to represent. Max the Maker says, Bob, can you think of anyone it wonders knife make? Wait. Bob, can you think of anyone it wonders knife makers, knife brands? Anyone it wonders. I'm not really understanding you, Max. I don't know what that means. And Jim, feel free to chime in the chat if I'm being oblique or just a dunce. Professor EDC says wood processing still, and of course Bladeosophy Sunday. All right, sweet. So Professor EDC's weekend is going to be wood processing with that hand axe, and then Bladeosophy, his show on Sunday. James, to clarify, Tactical Knife Invitational California Custom Knife Show is next weekend, February 10th and 11th. I'd love to land a Sinkovich lottery. Oh, yes. That would be cool. Like I said, love his elegant, beautiful knives. What is your favorite Bark River knife? May buy a fancy one soon. All right. It is a toss-up, but I think it comes to this. The Shining Mountain Bowie Blade Ogre. I love this thing. And you can probably still find fancy versions of this one because they did a run of these recently. This is from a few years back. They just recently did a run of these. I think Ketmuk got one. A couple other people here got one. And my experience with Bark River knives is that when they drop a knife, all of the less fancy and less expensive handles go first, like the stacked leathers. This is an antiqued stacked leather. I think they did a blackened stacked leather and a natural, and then they have several micartas that they do, and then it starts graduating into the more expensive exotic woods and such. And I am betting, or resin infused other weird things, but I'm betting you might be able to hunt one of these down, and with a like really beautiful exotic wood handle. That would be awesome. So this is my favorite Bark River knife, and the other Bowies like the V44, which I own, and then others which I don't, are my close seconds. I just love their Bowies. And this particular blade design, which we've seen in production by Blackjack, the Blackjack Anaconda, way back when, and then Winchester, I think, made a version of this. Well, this is a Mike Stewart design, and Mike Stewart is the guy behind Bark River Knives and Blackjack, and yeah, that's my favorite. Professor EDC says, but I do really enjoy making firewood better than any gym. That's right. It heats you twice. Chopping wood, it heats you twice. Cleaning out the garage, says 007. I'm sorry, Never Enough Knives, 007. Cleaning out the garage and hoping to find more cool stuff. I forgot I have. How cool is that? Last weekend, I found a box of flashlights and a camp axe I haven't seen in years. That is cool. Yeah. I was gonna say, I feel like I'm totally aware of where, but now that I'm thinking about it, there's a whole there are a bunch of knives that I need to find. I know they're in the house somewhere, but just for old time's sake. Max the Maker says, Bob, can you think of anyone? Can you? Oh, any one hit wonders? Thank you. Okay, thank you. It's a Gungan. He's like, geez, I got to step in. I got to take care of this. Okay. Bark River Bowie versus Cold Steel Frontier Bowie. Well, I mean, we are talking. Hang on, I'm going to get back to that one hit wonders. Because maybe Griffin knives, but we'll talk about that in a second. They're I almost don't consider them in the same class. But for camp, Bark River. For fighting, the Frontier Bowie. Definitely. That's how I would break it down. The Frontier Bowie has a real nice feel. You know, you can move that tip around very easily. It's not front heavy at all. It's got all the balance kind of towards the back, which is how you want it on a long fighting knife. And the Bark River knives have more like traditional Bowie style, more, they're a little more blade heavy because they have rat tail tangs and big giant blades for chopping and camp stuff. But yeah, I would for fighting, it would be that. Let's go back to the one hit wonders. Anyone remember Griffin knives? They made a Terzuola design that I just kept not getting. It was only $100. It was a fixed blade knife, 4.5 inches. Nothing fancy. Used to talk about it, and it was sweet. Just a sweet little fixed blade knife designed. It would work great for EDC, but looked a little bit more tactical, and designed by Bob Terzuola and put out by Griffin Knives, I think. And that was like the only knife they ever put out. And it was out for a while. And I slept on it and then, missed out completely. But that's a one hit wonder that I can think of. Yeah. Anyone, can you think of one? I'm curious if anything comes to mind for you. Well, the yeah, no. All right, forget it. Senior moment. Trying to remember the name of the Synergy or the whatever the hell that thing was. It had a life. That we in Civivi do. It had a life in the 90s, but I wouldn't say it was a one hit wonder because it wasn't fabulously popular then, and so it was sort of resuscitated by we Civivi. Anyway, all right, so I'm going to wrap it up. I just want to make sure that you guys know that you got to come on Sunday and check out the conversation with Donnie B all day. Donnie B all day. He's really cool. I dug our conversation, and well, tune in. Yeah, he's quite a character, and he loves the big knives. And I didn't realize until I was researching before the interview how many knives he's designed that you can actually have made to order from the Kukri house in Nepal. So really cool and interesting past, and just a unapologetically tough dude. And I loved it. Great conversation. So be sure to join us then. And then also on Wednesday for the midweek supplemental, you'll know we'll be here rattling off stuff about knives. And if you want to help the show out and become a patron, you can go to theknifejunkie.com/Patreon, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that does it for me. I hope you're all having a wonderful Thursday night. I hope you have a great weekend. And I'm going to say for Jim, working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying until next time, don't take dull for an answer.